The saga is over. Šeško is red.
Benjamin Sesko to Manchester United. Here we go. Deal agreed between all parties involved for the Slovenian striker to leave Red Bull Leipzig and join Manchester United.
Manchester United finally have their man. After weeks of speculation, bids from Premier League rivals and even astronomical offers from abroad, Benjamin Sesko has chosen Old Trafford.
Reporting that he has chosen Manchester United, that's his preference. United over Newcastle, who of course were also strongly linked with him.
Not the highest bidder, not the easiest route, but the biggest challenge.
You've got to get them the ball. You've got to get them opportunities to score. And what Manchester United have right now in the middle defensively isn't good enough to produce that for those three players. Again, if Sesko goes. I mean, if I'm Sesko, I'd be worried that I'm going to stall at Manchester United.
The greatest badge, the most historic club in England. He said no to Newcastle and others who offered more money because he saw something bigger, the rebirth of Manchester United under Ruben Amorim.
6 months ago, in my first 3 games in charge, with 2 victories and 1 draw, I said to you, the storm is coming. Today, after this disaster season, I want to tell you the good days are coming.
And now for a fee of €76.5 million plus €8.5 million in add-ons, a package worth €85 million. Šeško signs until 2030 with one mission only: bring back the fear.
I think for a player his size, he is one of the quickest over the stretch that I've seen. And he's technically gifted. Those are your building.
He's not just another striker, he's not just another headline. Benjamin Sesko is the prototype of the modern forward, a 6'5" monster with pace, precision and raw elegance. A goal scorer with the frame of a centre-back and the instincts of a fox inside the box. In 2024/25, he scored 21 goals and delivered 6 assists for Red Bull Leipzig, dominating defenders with his lethal finishing.
But now Šeško,
his clever movement between the lines and his devastating acceleration.
Nicely, there's a slip from Urban. Shoot, he says.
But what truly makes him special is what fans see once every generation. That aura, that hunger, that presence. Shades of Robin van Persie, not just in size or posture, but in cold-blooded execution. Left foot, right foot, headers.
Looking to Van Persie. He's going to find Van Persie. On the volley!
Hold-up play. Šeško has all the tools, and at 22, he's just getting started. And it's not just the goals, his profile screams perfect fit for the system Ruben Amorim is building. In a 3-4-3 formation built on verticality, intelligent pressing, and quick transitions, Šeško will be the spearhead.
A lot of people are going to go and suggest, oh, has he got the experience? I was one of those guys in that camp going, you know what, where is a player that can actually show the young, inexperienced strikers that we have already at the club how to do things in times of need? Who do they look to? He's going to have to step up and be that guy. Can he do it? Yes, he can do it. He's got huge potential.
A striker who can stretch defences, win duels in the air, hold off centre-backs and open channels for players like Mbeumo, Cunha or Bruno Fernandes. To arrive in full speed, Amorim wanted a 9 who doesn't just finish plays, but initiates chaos. That's Šeško. That's the plan.
League goal, will he lay it off? Oh, he can get his goal!
This isn't just a big-name signing, it's a statement, a message to the Premier League. United are no longer chasing past glories.
We heard Henry there mention bringing United back to former glories, while Manchester United haven't had much success with strikers going back to the summer of 2017.
They're building a terrifying future, and with Benjamin Sesko up front, this project just added its most dangerous weapon.
Šeško from distance, well, he hasn't scored!
But there's a problem. Šeško isn't a fully developed striker yet. At the end of the day, he's still a prospect. Could Šeško end up being another failed promise like Højlund? Let's find out.
And of course, there's a lot of questions, which I'm sure we're going to go through. How accustomed is he to leading the line on his own? And obviously, how is he going to adapt to the Premier League? And he's still very young. And what actually happened last year? Was it just Leipzig kind of like dragging him down?
Let's be honest. Everyone knows what Manchester United needs: goals.
He's a young kid, young guy, been at Leipzig playing, scoring goals. I think last season he played 45 games, 21 goals, 6 assists. So The guy knows where the back of the net is. That's almost one goal every 2 games.
This team finished 14th in the Premier League last season, dangerously flirting with relegation, and they only scored 44 goals in the league. Just for context, Robert Lewandowski scored 42 goals himself in all competitions. One man, almost the same as the entire United squad. That's how bad it got, and that's why signing a proper striker is no longer optional. It's a survival move. United desperately need a player who can lift those numbers, a forward who can turn half chances into goals, and a presence that makes defenders tremble. Enter Benjamin Sesko, the Slovenian powerhouse. He's not just a forward, he's a freak athlete, tall, fast, strong, lethal.
There is a toolkit, as Gab addressed it there, that can be impressive when you see the physicality of the player, and yet you see in terms of the skill set that he's able to play with the ball at his feet, that he's able to dribble, that he's able to combine. You put all those things together and you kind of go, man, this guy is a world beater.
The only problem, inconsistency.
And then you watch him play every weekend, as I was tasked to do all of last season in Bundesliga play, and I can tell you that this is a player that in moments can be outstanding. In fact, 2 or 3 games at a time can be outstanding and then goes missing for long periods of time. Look, he was in the same front line with Luis Openda and Xavi Simons. Players who in Bundesliga and really in any league should be very productive players. And when you look at Leipzig last season, part of the issue that they had is that for all the possession and ball control that they had in matches, they were unable to consistently put teams away by scoring goals consistently.
Yes, Šeško has the unique blend of tools that makes him terrifying. He can drop deep to link up play, then burst forward like a missile. He can score from outside the box, dominate in the air, or slide behind defenders with speed that doesn't make sense for someone 6 feet 5 inches tall. He's the kind of player who makes centre-backs panic the moment they see him charging. He can play as a target man or make smart runs behind the line. He thrives in open space, but also knows how to position himself inside the box. He's direct, he's physical, and he's hungry. Think of him as Haaland's Slovenian cousin.
Is positive, Openda, great play, and Šeško!
He's not quite at that level yet, but he's got that same terrifying upside. And at just 22 years old, he's got time to refine his raw tools into something truly special. His inconsistency could be a problem, but he is still a project with the capacity to score goals immediately at Manchester United. This isn't just another striker signing, this is United placing a bet on explosiveness, youth, and chaos. Because if they want to rise again, they need more than just a finisher. They need a game changer.
The difference with Sesko and Rasmus is that Sesko's been talked about. He's been in these conversations. Arsenal are going, Gyökeres, Sesko, which one? I'm not really sure. He's coveted. He's scoring goals. It's not like he scored just like 9 goals for Atalanta like Rasmus did and he's gone up. I do believe he's better than Rasmus, but I'm still very, very scarred from getting these young kids and banging all.
Because this isn't just any transfer. This is a striker who's been compared to Robin van Persie.
Salzburg, and the comparison that struck me straight away with his power on his left foot with Robin van Persie. He just had that about him, and that is obviously a high bar to meet. But you know, at 2021, what was Van Persie? He's definitely got that ability in him to progress to be a top striker. But I do think that he's young. He needs to develop. And centre forwards, apart from Erling Haaland, don't tend to mature till the mid-20s. So I think he's definitely one that's destined for a big move, and whoever gets him, if they're patient with him, have a really good centre forward.
I agree.
And if you've watched Šeško for more than 5 minutes, you'll understand why.
It's Robin van Persie, wanted on his left foot, now on his right.
He's got that deadly shot, that knack for showing up in the box right when the ball drops. He always carries a certain violence when he shoots. He looks like he was built to smash goals, just like Van Persie used to do in his prime. But let's take a step back.
Persie sets off, and Rooney finds him. Oh, brilliant!
Van Persie is a club legend. He scored 58 goals and 16 assists in just 3 seasons at United. In his first Premier League campaign alone, he netted 26 goals and added 10 assists just in the Prem. That's outrageous. Šeško is not there, at least not yet. The big difference, Van Persie arrived at Old Trafford already proven in England. Šeško is coming from the Bundesliga. He's raw, he's still learning, but here's the twist that changes everything. This United team has pieces to support him.
The only difference is Rasmus came in and had up front inexperience around him in terms of Garnacho one side, Ahmad the other, for instance, most of the time.
And then Anthony.
If Sesko comes in, he's got 2 red players that have played Premier League, scored goals in the Premier League, backed up by Bruno. So I think it's a different environment and dynamic that he comes into.
Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. These are not just flashy names, they're perfect complementary weapons. Cunha can drop deep, combine, create and drag defenders out of position. Mbeumo is a chaos machine on the wing, someone who stretches defences and makes intelligent cuts inside. Together they can pull defenders apart, leaving Šeško to do what he does best, punish people, inside and outside the box. Sure, Šeško didn't come to Manchester United as a Golden Boot winner, but he arrives with something far more valuable: momentum. The Slovenian striker is on the rise, and he's not just putting up decent number, he's smashing expectations. Let's break it down. In the 2023-24 Bundesliga season, Šeško was expected to score around 8.60 goals. He scored 14. That's a serious overperformance. The following season, 2024-25, his expected goals rose to 10.8, and he still beat it, finishing with 13 goals. He finished his numbers with 21 goals and 6 assists across all competitions last season, and you get the picture. This guy's evolving fast. He's not just efficient, he's ahead of schedule.
Look beyond the goals and you see this guy who is tall, who is, I think for a player his size, he is one of the quickest over the stretch that I've seen. And he's technically gifted. Those are your building blocks. Those are there. He scored goals before. So I think he's going to be in the conversation. I think with a better coach that he's had and a better experience at Leipzig, I think he's right up there.
But numbers are just part of the story. The real question is, how will he fit in?
Regardless. So he sees himself as that missing piece for Manchester United to go in there and make United who they were 10 or 15 years ago, as I referenced. But now, me being on the outside looking in, I question whether that's the right move for him. He's young. I don't think he's the player to lead the line for Manchester United in that way. He's still developing, and kind of given a lot of the dysfunction that you've seen around Manchester United, I question again if it's the best move for him and his development.
The answer lies in the brilliance of United's current blueprint. Ruben Amorim's system thrives on fluidity, versatility and intelligent movement, and that's exactly what Šeško brings. He's not a static number 9 who waits for the ball, he's dynamic. He can drop deep to link up play, drift wide to drag defenders, or make lethal runs in behind.
He could be seen as a bit of a hero in terms of, yes, Cunha, Mbeumo, Fernandes, the players that are there. He comes in, Sesko comes in, scores goals, takes them to European football, takes them to way higher up in let's call it the top 6, and then maybe Champions League, maybe European football. That is the start of this new Manchester United. Sometimes the project of being fresh, new, and also being part of that, I think, is also huge. But
good things come in threes, or at least that's what Ruben Amorim's counting on. After spending £200 million to completely rebuild the attack, United fans now have something they haven't had in years: hope. With Benjamin Sesko, Matheus Cunha, and Bryan Mbeumo, the Red Devils finally have a front three with pace, intelligence, creativity, and goals. It's not just a refresh, it's a full-blown revolution. Let's put things into perspective. Last season, United conceded 54 goals, which isn't exactly great, but it's not the end of the world either. In fact, United have finished 6th or higher 3 times in the past decade, while letting in as many or more. But the real problem wasn't in defence, it was up front. They scored just 44 goals in the Premier League. That's their lowest total in the 33-year history of the competition, worse than any post-Ferguson season. That's embarrassing for a club of United's size and history. So yeah, the attack desperately needed a reboot. Garnacho and Xerxes are blocking his own goals.
El pase para Garnacho, mira acá. Mira acá. ¿Le da o no? Pero adentro del arco.
Ah, ¿dónde le toca en la rodilla?
Le da en la rodilla, pero adentro del arco o no. A ver.
No te puedo creer.
And Hodgson hasn't been that lethal striker that United needs.
At the backs. Great save again by Alisson.
I mean, he scored 4 goals in 32 matches at the Premier League last season.
Yeah, Højlund, I agree with Jody. Like, I've watched him the last 2 games closely, and I'm like, it just doesn't add up.
Are you surprised Man U ain't looking for a striker?
I'd be going to get Osimhen now. If we can do it from a financial standpoint, get him on loan, guarantees you someone who can get on the end of things, scores goals, experienced, done it at the top level. Because he's £70 odd million, Højlund, we're expecting the finished article a lot of the time, unfortunately. These strikers come in and they learn off someone. He's got no one to learn off. He's looking at Xerxes, who's like him. They need someone, both need someone to learn. What does it take to be a Man United number 9? What are they doing every day? What type of drills are they doing?
But here's the £1 million question. Can this new trio actually gel? Can 3 new forwards who've never played together find rhythm, chemistry and synergy in a completely new tactical system? Normally, the answer would be, it's complicated. Changing clubs is hard. Adapting to a new league is even harder. And when you're trying to build an entire front line from scratch, it's a gamble. But this might actually work, because each of these players has shown the exact traits that complement the others. Šeško is the vertical threat who stretches defences. Cunha drops deep links play and creates overloads. Mbeumo operates in the half spaces, draws markers wide and cuts inside with precision. Together, they form a triangle of destruction, unpredictable, mobile and ruthless. The first big question is positional. Will these 3 actually fit together on the pitch, or will they step on each other's toes?
His Man United scored 44 goals last season. They've now invested in 3 strikers at the top of the pitch that had between them 48 goals last season. So that's 4 more than the whole Man United squad got last year. So that's a huge improvement in that sense. 2 of those guys have played in the Premier League and have scored goals here. Šeško now has to go and transfer his form, his goals, his menacing play at times into the Premier League. And that's the big question. But what I would say, not only the goals isn't a step up, but I would say the mobility in the front areas now is something, as a defender, I'm looking at and I'm thinking differently about Manchester United's front line. I'll be sitting there going, I'm going to have a physical presence up there. I'm going to have a physical test from all 3 positions, and I've got people that can run and move up there. They're mobile.
Well, if we look at last season's touch maps, things start to make sense. Bryan Mbeumo loves the right flank. That's his home. Matheus Cunha drifts inside from the left, almost like a hybrid number 10 who doesn't need the sideline. And Benjamin Sesko, he's pure striker, living in the central channel, ready to attack the box. So yes, on paper the spacing works, but football isn't a static game. It's not enough to line them up in their favourite spots and hope for fireworks. The real test is interaction. Does Šeško make the kind of runs that Cunha and Mbeumo like to feed? Will Cunha's clever passes actually find their target in the final third? Can the trio press with structure and intent, or will it be chaos? Both Cunha and Mbeumo are not just wide players, they're progressors. Players who break lines with the ball, either through slick passing or explosive dribbling. They're dynamic, they drag defenders out, create chaos and open spaces. And guess who thrives in those spaces? Šeško. See, what makes this setup truly promising is that Cunha isn't a traditional number 9. Despite scoring 15 goals and adding 6 assists in the Premier League, he did it as a shadow striker, playing just behind the main forward, Mbeumo. He's a pure right winger who managed to bag 20 goals in the league, so neither one is going to be crowding Šeško in the centre. If this trio works even at 60 to 70% of its potential, we're easily talking 30 plus goals between them, and that alone would nearly double United's attacking output from last season. But we still don't know exactly how they'll link up with Šeško, because Šeško himself is still a mystery in many ways. He's just 22 years old, and his time at Leipzig gave us 2 very different versions of the same player. One season, he was the target man. The next, he was more involved in build-up, drifting, connecting, adapting. So to understand his potential fit, we have to reverse engineer the situation. What kind of strikers have Cunha and Mbeumo clicked with in the past? What does Amorim typically want from his number 9? And does Šeško tick those boxes? At Brentford, Mbeumo thrived because he had Wissa constantly buzzing around him. 166 combinations last season. Wissa's off-the-ball runs were relentless. Whether it was an overlap or underlap, he'd pull defenders wide, opening a lane for Mbeumo to cut inside and whip a shot with that silky left foot. Cunha's setup at Chelsea was different. His partner Strand Larsen wasn't making darting runs, he was a battering ram. Cunha would play into his feet, bounce a quick pass off him, and break inside from the left. Fewer connections, just 80 passes between them, but all about physicality and timing. So where does Šeško fit in? Across both his seasons at RB Leipzig, Šeško showed a real knack for dropping deep and linking up with midfield. He consistently ranked high in Europe for short support runs, the kind that help carry the ball forward and invite midfielders into play. This makes him the perfect glue guy. He can tie Cunha and Mbeumo together with quick, one-touch moves, but Amorim wants more than a wall passer. Just remember how Gyökeres has played under Ruben Amorim's system. What he really values is the ability to stretch the field. Long, direct runs into the channels, movements that pull defences apart and open the gates for United's dual number 10s to crash the box. Yes, Amorim's style is methodical. United had the second slowest build-up in the league behind City, but those sudden long balls into the corners are a core weapon. And that's where Højlund has struggled. He's got the speed and hunger to make those runs, but not the finishing touch when the ball arrives. Despite being 6 feet 3 inches, 191 centimetres, Højlund won just 25% of his aerial duels last season. That's bottom tier among strikers in Europe. He doesn't offer that hold-up factor United desperately needs. Šeško, though, he's built for it. At 6 feet 5 inches, 196 centimetres, he's a monster in the air. His dominance over Højlund and even over Joshua Zirkzee is clear in the data. He wins more headers, holds the ball up better, and completes more successful dribbles per 90 minutes. That's key when the ball's launched forward and the striker has to scrap for it while his teammates catch up. This United team isn't ready to support a ghost striker, a Haaland type who just floats in the box. No, they need a number 9 who fights for every inch. One who gets dirty, pins defenders, links the play, and creates chaos. But maybe the biggest green flag of all? Šeško just scores goals no matter what's happening around him. RB Leipzig had 2 very chaotic seasons. Injuries, inconsistent tactics, shifting lineups. And yet, Šeško still hit double digits in both campaigns. He just finds a way. That's not luck, that's instinct. That's what elite strikers do. In fact, all 3 of Manchester United's new forwards scored more than 10 goals last season. That kind of output is a strong foundation. And the fastest way to build chemistry and confidence in a new team is to keep doing what you already do best. Put the ball in the net. Šeško is the perfect hybrid for this project. He's got the movement of Højlund, always threatening the space behind the backline, but he also has the link-up intelligence of Zirkzee, dropping deep, holding off defenders, and connecting short passes to bring the midfield into play. That blend makes him the ideal striker for Ruben Amorim's system. And let's be clear, this isn't just about fit, it's about talent. Newcastle United saw it. They wanted Šeško to replace Alexander Isak because they know the truth. His ceiling is much higher than Højlund or Zirkzee. He's only 22 years old. Most elite strikers don't fully blossom until they're 24, 25, even 26. Šeško has time, but also the right coach to shape him. Amorim doesn't just need a striker, he wants a weapon, a complete forward, and Benjamin Sesko might just be that guy. He's not perfect, his decision making and finishing still need work, but those are things that can be trained. What can't be taught is instinct, hunger, presence, and Šeško has all 3. This isn't just a signing, this is a bet on the future of Manchester United's attack, and it might just be the smartest move they've made in years.